The wind howled across the open plains like a ghost mourning the past, sweeping dust and sorrow into the folds of night. It was the kind of storm that made even the toughest ranch hands pull their coats tighter and pray their cattle stayed put. But for Wade Carter, a rugged cowboy with weather-beaten skin and eyes like the distant sky, storms had long become a metaphor for life, unpredictable, unrelenting, and often lonely. He was used to solitude. After losing his wife 3 years ago and with no family to speak of, the ranch had become more of a routine than a home. That night, he was riding fence lines, reins in one hand and flashlight in the other, when he heard it, soft, fragile, and out of place. A cry. At first, Wade thought it was the wind playing tricks. But then he heard it again, a faint sob carried by the storm, desperate and unmistakably human. He pulled his horse, Dusty, to a stop and listened closely. The cry was coming from the woods near Miller's Creek, a place no one had reason to be during a storm like this. Without hesitation, Wade turned Dusty toward the sound, heart pounding, not from fear, but instinct. He found her just off the dirt road, huddled beneath a half-fallen pine, soaked to the bone and trembling like a leaf in a hurricane. She was young, maybe in her 20s, her auburn hair plastered to her face and her jeans muddy from the road. Her eyes, wide with fear, met his as the flashlight beam found her. She didn't run. She couldn't. "Ma'am," Wade said gently, stepping off Dusty and kneeling beside her. "You all right?" She shook her head, voice barely above the rain. I got lost. My car broke down. My phone died. I tried walking for help, but then the storm." Her words fell apart into another sob, and Wade instinctively wrapped his duster coat around her. "You're all right now," he said softly, the cowboy calm in his voice like a lighthouse in the dark. "I got you." He helped her onto Dusty, holding her steady as they rode toward the small wooden cabin near his barn, the one he used for guests he never had. He didn't ask questions, not yet. The priority was warmth and safety. Inside, the old fireplace crackled to life while Wade handed her a towel and a dry flannel shirt. "I'm Wade," he offered. "Wade Carter." She looked up, eyes still glassy. "I'm Lily. Lily Hart." They sat in silence for a while, the only sound the crackling fire and the wind outside as the storm raged on. She wrapped the oversized shirt around herself like armor and stared into the flames. Wade handed her a cup of warm coffee, watching as color slowly returned to her cheeks. "Thank you," she said finally, voice steadier now. "I didn't know what would happen out there. I was scared." No one stopped. Wade nodded. "Storms bring out the worst and the best in people. Glad I was nearby." Lily managed a weak smile. "I was driving to Wyoming. Trying to get away from something, I guess. Or someone." Wade didn't press. But something in her voice told him this wasn't just about a broken-down car. And when she fell asleep curled up by the fire, her hand still clutching the coffee mug, he pulled a blanket over her shoulders and sat down in the rocking chair, watching over her like a guardian. The next morning dawned clear and bright, as if the land had forgotten its fury from the night before. Lily awoke to the scent of fresh coffee and bacon. Wade was by the stove, humming an old country tune, his weathered hat tilted back on his head. For the first time in days, she felt safe. Over breakfast, she opened up in fragments, about the man she'd been trying to leave, about the job she lost after standing up to him, about how she felt like she was drowning in a life that didn't feel like her own. "I just needed to breathe," she whispered. "And I didn't know where else to go." Wade listened, never judging, his silence full of understanding. "Out here, breathing's about all we do," he said gently. "You're welcome to stay a while. No expectations." That week, Lily stayed. She helped feed the horses, learned to mend a fence, and even tried her hand at baking biscuits, though they came out more like stones. She laughed more than she had in months. Wade, meanwhile, found himself watching her with a warmth he hadn't felt in years. Not romantic at first, more like the comfort of finding something you didn't know you needed. One evening, while they watched the sun dip behind the hills, Wade spoke. "My wife, Sarah, passed a few years ago. Cancer. She used to sit right there," he said, nodding to the porch swing. "Said sunsets were proof that endings could still be beautiful." Lily's eyes welled up. "She must have been kind. She was light in every dark place," Wade said, voice thick with memory. "You remind me of her strength. Even if you don't see it yet." The days turned into a month, and Lily found herself mending more than fences. She was rebuilding her spirit, one sunrise and kind word at a time. Wade, once a ghost in his own home, started humming more, smiling without noticing. The house didn't feel so empty anymore. Then, one crisp morning, Lily came to Wade, holding her phone. "I found a job," she said. "In Jackson. Art therapy for kids. It's what I studied, before." He nodded slowly, heart tightening. "That's wonderful." She looked down, then up. "But I don't know if I should go." Wade stood, his voice soft but certain. "Lily, storms may bring people together, but life decides if they stay. You've got to go live yours now. Don't let this old ranch hold you back." Tears sparkled in her eyes. "You gave me shelter when I had nothing. And you gave me something I didn't even know I'd lost," he replied. "Hope." They hugged, long and silent, a farewell wrapped in gratitude and unspoken understanding. She promised to visit, and he promised to keep the porch light on. 6 months later, on a stormy spring evening, Wade sat by the fire, sipping coffee alone. The house was quieter again, but not empty. There were new curtains Lily had sewn. A painting she left above the mantel. And in his heart, a warmth that lingered. Suddenly, headlights cut through the rain. Wade stood, curious, and opened the door. There she was, sopping wet, breathless, with a nervous smile. "I was driving back to visit," Lily said, stepping closer. "Got caught in another storm." Wade looked at her, heart full. "Good thing I know the way to shelter." And just like that, two souls, once lost in the storms of life, found their way home, in each other. Because sometimes, kindness in a storm doesn't just save a life, it changes one.